Oh, hello, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. Well, a lot of people online are complaining, so what the hell else is new? But this time the complaining is involving audiophile record labels, the kinds of labels that I love, the labels that go out of their way to source original master tapes and transfer them over, whether they have a digital intermediary or not, in the best way possible. So you've got companies like MoFi, Analog Productions, MPEX, several other big ones, not to leave anyone out, but those are probably the biggest ones. Um, and a lot of people have been noticing that it is getting harder and harder for these labels to license certain kinds of music. So, how does it work with these labels? Well, these labels have to pay a fee to license the recordings owned by other labels, generally the major labels, your Sonys, your Warners, your Universals, and that's pretty much it these days. And BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard are the top stakeholders in all of them. Hoorah, or something like that. And so, anyway, these independent audiophile labels, as they've always had to do, they've had to license the music, saying, look, we want to put out an audiophile version. Can we pay you to license it? And as part of the deal, you let us take the master tape and do what we need to do with it in terms of pressing a lacquer, creating a lacquer from it, or with a digital intermediary. And of course, these companies do SACDs a lot, which involves the transfer, uncontroversially, of the tape to a digital state. Now, this was the method that audiophile labels have always done, and ironically, labels with some of the worst quality sound, those that specialize in unofficial compilations, tend to do the same thing. So, the hallmark great songs of the 70s, well, a representative from them has to knock on the record label of, your Karen Carpenters and your James Taylors and your Bee Gees and say, can we license some of that music for a compilation that we're going to sell at a local gas station at Christmas time? Oh, God, why do I do this? Anyway, so a lot of people have noticed that while sort of, your traditional 70s and 80s rock or rap music was your mainstay of labels like MoFi and others, it's getting increasingly hard because a lot of the labels themselves, like Rhino, which I do believe is owned by Warner and others, they're hiring the well-known mastering engineers with audiophile expertise, people like Kevin Gray, people like Chris Bellman, and they're putting the content out themselves on their own labels as opposed to letting the independents do it. And so some people are fretting this because they want their rock and they want it in very good fidelity. But others are seeing this as an opportunity whereby music that the major labels don't see as commercially viable is now the kind of stuff that a lot of the independent labels are starting to license because their other options of rock are being a bit more limited. And so I've noticed that you're seeing a lot more soul, a lot more R&B, a lot more funk, and even a lot more sort of post 80s rock from these labels than you used to see. And this is very interesting. I mean, the Isley Brothers had such well-recorded albums, but what's really, really needed is an audiophile version of these albums. Why don't these labels go in and do that? I see, for instance, MoFi is doing James Brown, they're doing Parliament. Why not carry on along this method? So I'm not sure if you can hear that, but anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think, and as always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.